Adult Education Framework by Juniper Hart. Today I'll be displaying and explaining my philosophy and framework for adult education. To begin this presentation, first I'll introduce my philosophy regarding adult education. Then I'll show the framework I've created based on this philosophy and explain my rationale. Then I'll explain how this framework aligns with my personal philosophy. Lastly, I'll take an in-depth look into what this framework will mean for me as a future educator and how I'll be able to implement it within the early learning setting. My philosophy is that learning is a constant part of life. When most people hear the word learning, they would immediately think of children or young students learning within a classroom, when in reality, this is only a small fraction of an individual's experience with learning. As humans, we are constantly learning new things in different aspects of our lives. Our lives are created through our learning. So here is my framework. I created a mind map with color-coded bubbles to keep my ideas clear and concise for the reader. Andragogy, or the adult learning theory, is the understanding of the science and practice of adult learning. Andragogy is the opposite from pedagogy, which is the learning of a child. The theory is closely tied with Malcolm Knowles, who also introduced the 6 assumptions of adult learning, another key concept of my framework. Berzer's 6 principles of adult learning show an insight into how to apply andragogical concepts into the classroom. And then I just have a quote that I found. This quote applies to my framework as it states that adults' life experiences contribute to their learning, creating a constant cycle of learning throughout life. The next piece of my framework revolves around the traditional learning theories, which include constructivism, humanism, behaviorism, cognitivism, and social cognitive theory. These theories are a key concept of my framework as they look at how an individual learns, which applies to the idea that an individual is constantly learning. Next, we have social aspects of adult learning, including globalization, changing demographics, technology, and the knowledge society. Each of these aspects are continuous in one's life and provide both challenges and success in their learning. For example, globalization is basically the importing and exporting of goods around the world, but with our hyper-connected world we live in, globalization has begun to affect adult learning. For example, people are able to pay tutors from around the world and connect with them online. People are able to basically shop for their education. Transformative learning is the process an individual goes through where any problematic set beliefs or assumptions they have are transformed into a new and different mindset where they become more emotionally able to change their views. Meserow's 10-step transformational process gives a really great insight into how this occurs. Transformative learning may occur individually, in the workplace, in the classroom or online, and in the community. It's a process that Dirks referred to as emotional soul work, as it requires the learner to change set beliefs and values that they had created throughout their life. The last piece of my framework is self-directed learning. Self-directed learning is where the learner goes through the process of taking the initiative of their own learning. Caffarella created 4 goals to motivate a learner to engage in self-directed learning. I also included that it is both a process and an attribute because that statement ties in with my philosophy. While it is the process of learning for an individual, it also becomes a personal attribute. When a learner is able to take responsibility for their learning, they become more confident in life as they continue to learn. Learning is a constant part of life, and that is proven through the framework I created. Adults are always learning new skills and ideas that shape them as a person and contribute to their life experiences. Different aspects in life affect the way adults learn, and the different processes that they may go through in their learning ultimately make them who they are. From pedagogy to andragogy, humans are constantly learning in life. As a future educator, I will be working with children who are at the very beginning of their life full of learning. I will have the opportunity to aid in shaping a child's life experiences, which will help them in their future. Many of the andragogical concepts can also apply to a child's learning. For example, some children may learn in a more self-directed approach if they are comfortable in that area. It is crucial for me as a future educator to understand that humans are constantly learning and to implement this framework within the classroom setting. This presentation was made to educate the audience on my personal philosophy and framework that demonstrates that learning is a constant part of life. Adult education is a part of each individual's daily lives as they learn new concepts, skills, and ideas within different environments they encounter. We are constantly learning and making room for more life experiences that will shape us as human beings. And here are my references.